Greetings and welcome to the first house. This is Ron from the Tarot of the Twin Sun. The Tarot of the Twin Sun is a functional division within the Order of the Twin Sun. Please take only what you will. We shall begin by looking through the solar energy that comes through the Lion's Gate, which happened last month on the 8th of August. And for September, enough weeks have matured in terms of the progression that occurs from Leo into Virgo. Okay, and what does that do? Well, essentially, there is a shift from solar energy into mercurial energy. Okay, from fixity into mutability, which allows for the flexibility or the strength to sort of see what happens, what has been triggered in terms of the Lion's Gate. Now, for solar Arians, okay, it moves. Okay, so let's see here. It would be first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Obviously, it would be the fifth house that has been triggered. Okay, so creative possibilities in which the sort of childlike demeanor in which the fool allows for itself to do certain things, especially when it comes to romance or creativity, children, the possibility also to bring fruition some of the more romantic idealisms that come through the quixotic, okay, the idea where we can profoundly take a sort of degree of faith into our ideas, okay, and ideas are different from thoughts, in which the sort of reptilian brain can produce a plethora of manas, of the idea of thinking as opposed to ideas. Ideas come to us, they're gifted to us from collective consciousness. And with the axis of the 5 and the 11 sort of percolating within the Lion's Gate for solar Arians, there's a possibility of great evolutionary sort of newness coming about, the birth of the ages, the pioneering aspects of the fixed axis of fire and air, okay? So all that said, there is a lightness to it, a pioneering sort of pilgrim lightness, in which the quest for light, the quest for enlightenment comes through a sort of disintegration or purification of egoistic principles, okay, where the I becomes sort of concentrated to such a degree that it allows for spiritual or evolutionary curves, okay, allows for change on a collective level. This is ironically done by sort of from a Western perspective, glorifying or reifying the personification of what we can truly achieve through Leonic energy, through the fifth house. And so we'll go on from there. Yeah, so I will be pulling a bit in terms of karmic resonance. Something should show up in terms of the month of September for solar Arians. Please take only what you will, and I do thank you for your time. So a great deal of self-knowing occurs in this month. There's something in the past that you've let go of. This process has been trying, to say the least, but at the same time, it provides a sense of purity in which you understand the nature in which the conveyance of love comes through the self, as opposed to trying to find it in outer expectations or outer means, others, other people in general. There is a solemnity in all of this, and I rather like it. A platform should be opening up in terms of communication with others on a very profound level, okay? Now, if there's a period of isolation, it is done so in order to provide an effect of some sort. With the 5 of Cups in the reverse, there certainly is a degree in which the 6 of Cups emerges, some sort of fleeting, understanding that comes through it's kind of like selflessness, but not really. It is honoring the self in order to find in the self's individuation the platform on which to spring from. Okay, so from what I see in terms of the Great Mirror, and by the way, the Great Mirror is a tool devised by the Order to see particular karmas that are resonant in terms of influence as well as affluence. There is a balancing occurring in this month that allows for the self to understand um, a bit more of it's, like I said, it's like a discussion between selfish principles in order to reflect a greater cause, something where um, you are able to understand your role in certain situations with significant others in order to produce an effect of fairness and egalitarianism. What I see here is a truth that is emerging through the ninth house, as well as a possibility to understand that you're dealing with someone here that may be an obstacle in nature, and perhaps they know this. There is a heavy burden about them that is quite ridiculous in terms of its weight. Uh, at the same time, there is a cycle that is perhaps being hinted at in terms of it ending in some way, shape, or form, especially with the death card, mortalite in the subconscious realm, in the realm of manifestation. Something about them is changing um, in terms of an outer an outer thing, okay? And it has to do with a situation outside of themselves that they are innately fearing to deal with. But it's outside of your connection. At the same time, there's something about them that is finding the balancing point in the having of their world, okay? The having of what makes them whole. Because of such, two halves make a whole. There's something about it that with this disparity, there's an angst. There's something about them that also is trying to find the balancing point in order to weigh out two different parts of the world, two different minds, two different realms of existence. And with such, there's a possibility of great understanding in your role of this. With Sagittarius, very strongly indicated here, as well as Libra, in reverse, Venus becomes shifted upside down, and from this shifting of Venus, Jupiter gives its rewards. Now, traditionally in the zodiac and within the planetary sort of understanding of conveyance, Jupiter and Venus do not get well on together, and there's something about this that allows for truth to emerge, at all costs. It's a cold truth, also, it's something of discernment. And because of such, there's something logistic about what you do, not logistic, but more in terms of the certain laws that are natural in this type of connection, okay? The laws of human dynamics, as well as the laws of fairness and justice in general, the laws of karma. The Garçon Brune, the page of pentacles, shows up here, and there's a possibility of two halves of a whole in terms of the sixth energy. Virgo in nature, the high priestess slightly emerges here. She shows up in the ether, and there's a possibility that she takes the form of the Garçon Brune, of the page of pentacles. Now, with this, there is a type of disguise that allows you to give a sense of the wholeness that is divided, but then it goes even deeper. The division is divided again. There's a multiplicity aspect about this that allows for the pie in the sky to emerge, okay? Which is essentially a way to do things equally so that all people, everyone, is essentially given the same slice of the pie, however small it becomes, however small that particular slice becomes. And I rather like this reading because it allows for space, it allows for self-reflection, it allows for the high priestess in the sort of interdimensionality of it, in which she is taking the form of the Garçon Brune to sort of give fairness to all those concerned. And even if it's a little of your time that you give this person, there's a possibility that great truth as well as mentorship can emerge from this. You can appear as a type of guru or teacher for them in one way, shape, or form, because the burden is too great for them. And there's a possibility of a type of burnout that should have happened a long time ago, but it is occurring for the month of September, at least from what I see voyeuristically in their external world. And it's a very deep, profound change that has to do with fears that are coming to realization of some form of disparity, separation with others. So there's a cold, sort of Saturnian, reflective silence in all of this, and I rather like it, considering the 5 also activates the 11, okay, with whom they rule, the King of Swords, there is a possibility of great understanding through the process that they are going from a distance. At the same time, you give them the time of day in order to provide not only the King of Swords but the High Priestess's energy, in which all division is equal, in which the king can understand from a sort of practical standpoint how to distinguish from a distance this person's actions, whatever they're doing. Whatever they're doing is greatly informed by the nodes of the moon, and there's an element of hard work when it comes to them facing this connection that you have together. At the same time, there's a projection of the Nine of Pentacles or the Seven of Pentacles. Great expectations on one side, okay, when it comes to the Dragon's Head, when it comes to the North and the South node, great expectations are had. At the same time, there's something that speaks of the Venusian principle of expectation when it comes to commitments on the lesser form, the second house. Okay, so essentially what I see here is a great deal of expectations in general with the things that they've had to deal with. And this forms a type of obstacle. It's a realm of experience that they seek out, or a realm of newness with you, but I think with justice in reverse, some sort of karma is affecting itself already, some sort of severance. Now, with the Eight of Pentacles here in the reverse, there is a reflective quality here in which there is a dispute intestine. There's something within the solar sort of initiation between you two that on a gut level actually produces the effect of repulsion as opposed to attraction. There is a mutual sort of understanding here that emerges that speaks of the cycle of fire, the ability to understand its wheel and how there can be a burden of passion within it all. At the same time, this is your Lion's Gate. This person could be essentially a representation of your fifth house. There also is a possibility of great independence being sought out in order to pioneer something that is greater in terms of karmic interplay and the sort of dance or play of what roles we play in terms of these types of connections. So ultimately, what comes out of it is a penchant in which the veil is lifted, okay, and an understanding on a principle level of how romance and expectations through romantic interplay may cause a great understanding of the sort of blurriness or the fog that romance tends to produce. Now, this does not have to be a romantic connection, but it is a connection that is based on the principles of Venus falling, okay, which has to do with essentially commitments as well as how to break this commitment, how to sever certain types of commitment that are projected into the ether, that are expected of one another. And essentially ultimately what I see with this is a type of clairvoyance or clairaudience that comes from this connection that allows for the karmic sort of play of it unfurl by its disconnection, by cutting the cord, something like this. But what I see here is primarily a karmic connection in popular mechanics, in a popular way of seeing it. I see it as something that is very difficult to reconcile. In terms of advice, the advice is to take the prudence of this 12th house to become self-reflective and understand the nature of energetic exchange and how certain forms of Shakti are not meant to be shared with one another. That's the best I can do for this reading. I do wish you well, and see you next month. Bye-bye.